Greetings and salutations, young grasshoppers, and welcome back to the Optimized Self Show. As always, this is your host, Justin Archer, aka Sensei of the Dojo, proud Sensei, I might add. For those of you tuning for the first time, basically what the show is all about is helping crowdsource knowledge and, more importantly, experience of like-minded individuals, those people that are looking to rediscover their health, upgrade their fitness, and or optimize their wellness, all while having fun, kicking ass through lifestyle design. And those last two words there are key: lifestyle design. We don't put on the single factor focus blinders and focus on things just like exercise or just diet. We take in your overall lifestyle, because after all, your human body, it's a stimulus response organism, and it's responding to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. And so it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, the bulk of what makes up your life that matters the most, not your best intentions. So we take everything in consideration, from your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, not to mention things that are positively or negatively influencing those 7 foundations of your health that I just listed, things like your environment and mindset. So we take all that into consideration, and like I said, we have fun while doing it. The format here on the show is very much Q&A. You supply the Q, I supply the A. Just to be clear, that is answers, not the other A. We keep this PG-13 most of the time. Anyways, got a fun show today. We're going to be talking about lateral pelvic tilts and, of course, how to correct them, sciatica, how to relieve both the symptoms and the cause of, what my take is on Rolfing and how it fits into the Optimized Self system, how form follows functions, why it's very, very important that you straighten a body before attempting to strengthen it. And I want to share with you guys the newly revised Optimized Self Test version 2.0. So all that and more coming up on today's show. But before we get started, I just wanted to give a special shout out to all the new members of the Optimized Self Dojo. Thank you very much. For those of you who are not aware of what the dojo is, I'll quickly give you a little tour before we start today's show, so you can just see a little glimpse of what's all inside. This is a private members area. People have paid for membership. This is really what helps supports the Optimized Self Show. It's what allows it to be free. So for those of you not only who have chosen to financially back the show, but also have chosen to invest, I guess you can say you've paid for the membership, but really it's you've invested your time, because of course we all, it takes us time to earn that money. You're trading, hours for dollars, and then you took that and invested it in your own health by becoming a member of the Optimized Self Dojo. I applaud you. Hopefully I didn't go through your speakers really loud. I just felt like applauding. But thank you very much. And for those that haven't, let me show you really quick what the dojo is all about. All right, so give me 1 second here, and I will do a screen share, and then at one point you will see me. But let's go with the entire screen here, and you'll probably see kind of a matrix of kind of deal here. Sorry about that. So the Optimized Self Dojo is housed in a private Facebook group, and with it comes some built-in accountability and support. This is huge. No matter what, method, technique, system, for losing weight, for gaining muscle, study after study has shown that it's imperative that you have an accountability and support group. The more people that you go in on somebody with that hold you accountable and that can support you as well as you them, the more likely you are to stick with it and succeed. So that's one of the founding purposes of the Optimized Self Dojo. You even see here there is a welcome post that tells you kind of how to get started, introduce yourself, say why it is you're here, what you're struggling with, what is it you're trying to achieve. And I'm happy to say that other members will chime in with useful tips, hints, strategies, things like that. And I actually post short videos in here every day, and we have, we talk about them, as short or as long as need be. And then Also, we do every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do live events. And so here are some past live events that we did. They're all recorded to YouTube, so and they are private, so only Optimized Self Dojo members have access to them. But during these live events, I do collect questions throughout the previous week to answer. But also, you're more than welcome to come on and ask me live. You can come on and join me on video, just like I'm doing now, as long as you have basically a computer and a webcam. That's really all you need. You can join me live. Or if you're camera shy, you can simply text, email, or message me questions that I can answer live on the show. And that's where you would find these here. So this is the last one. My wife Anya and I did some cooking.
Hey there, Ninja.
Hey, and that's us. And then here we are cooking. Lots of fun. Anyways, so there's that. And then the other very important part of the dojo, I'll show you here. If you go to the Files tab, and you can always find the group by going to facebook.com/groups/Optimized Self Dojo, and you can ask to join. But you will need a membership, and I'll show you how to get that in just a moment. All right, so if you go to the Optimized Self Arsenal, and you click here, it will open up the Optimized Self Arsenal in a shared Google Doc. And the reason I chose to host this doc here is because it's a live document that can always be modified and edited, and I don't have to send out version 2.0s and 3.0s and so on and so forth. It's the same link. You're always going to be able to access it through the dojo that easy, that quickly. And people can also, if you go to suggestions, you can highlight something and you could ask, you can leave a comment about it or ask a question, and you can even make suggestions to what should be changed. But there's a lot of good information here. Let's go back to the viewing mode, and I'll just quickly show you the table of contents. There's the overall concept of the Optimized Self system. There's, how to use the built-in accountability and support, where to find the weekly live trainings, which we already went over. There's a quick start guide. There's the Optimized Self First Aid Kit, which is a collection of exercise routines to help relieve and eliminate 20 of the most common chronic pain symptoms. The newly added correcting common posture deviations for things like elevated hip, scoliosis, some other things we'll be talking about a little bit later on the show. There's the Optimized Self course, and its modules, each on how to go about optimizing the 7 foundations of your health: breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise. Going to be doing some ones coming up on environment and mindset. And there's other tools like the Optimized Self Daily Motivation / Inspiration, the Optimized Self Habits, and the Optimized Self Journal. These are great tools to help you implement the small little changes you need to make on a daily basis that will inevitably create monumental shifts, positive shifts in your life. So there's that, as well as others like the Kick Butt list of self-optimization apps. Those are the apps that I and my one-on-one and retainer clients use every day to test, measure, and track all 7 foundations of your health. Excuse me, I thought I had turned that off. And all. So there's a lot of good information, a lot of great resources. Basically, this is the best of the best of what I've learned in 13 plus years being in the, let's call it, making bodies better world in many different ways that I've learned, that I share, like I said, with my friends, my family, my one-on-one clients, those that keep me on retainer. All the most important stuff can be found there. And so, like I said, you can always, let's go back here. Yes, you can always click here. Obviously, I'm I made the group, so I am joined, but this would be green here, and you can click join. And then all you would have to do is go to, well, I'll take you really quick through the steps. It's actually very straightforward, very simple. If you go to OptimizedSelf.ninja, and granted, this will be fast for you if you're not doing a live broadcast, to make sure we are still recording, and you go down here, and you can always go to OptimizedSelf.ninja. I know I'm moving really fast, and you can look through everything that's included here in the Optimized Self Dojo. And there's several places where you can click, but let's just go here. We'll click here to enter the dojo, and you can get a membership And you can see, if you're wondering, what the difference is, why the price different. With every membership that is sold, the next membership goes up. So, I always tell people, better to get in now when it's cheaper. This will eventually turn into an annual, quarterly, and monthly membership. But right now, you can get in for a one-time fee. As little as right now is $22. So it's an amazing deal when you consider everything included. Just in the first year is worth $3,650. So yeah, it's a steal right now. So that's basically how you would get in, and that, I think, about covers it. So let me take the screen share off here. Let me stop that. And let me say hi to everyone. For those of you who have seen the show before, hi. For those of you tuning in for the first time, sorry, I'm not better looking. What are you gonna do? All right. So, and we're about to get to the first main topic of the day. But before we do so, like I said, the dojo that I just showed you, that's how, all this is funded. So there's no ads or anything like that. In the future I might, but if so, they're definitely going to be whitelisted. They're going to be things that I use, that I believe in, that I spend my own money on. So rest assured about that. But that's really how I like this to be funded. I'd much rather, give you and others something of value than taking on ads and ad support and stuff like that. But some people, out of the kindness of their heart, have wanted to donate. So I set up a way you can do that. You just go to OptimizedSelf.ninja/support, and you can donate through PayPal. You don't need a PayPal account. That's just the processor I use. You can donate as little or as much as you want. It could be a one-time payment. It could be a recurring payment. You decide. Anything you give would be greatly appreciated, not just by me, but by the other people that this show helps. So thank you on behalf of myself and all those that it helps. All right. So with that said, let's get on to, actually, I just noticed I didn't put my lower third down. So let me put that down so you guys know who I am. I just know I threw a lot of information at you, and you might be going, Uzi, where do I find them? So let me put this up really quick, and then we will get started. Thank goodness Google/YouTube makes this so easy. So that's me, Justin Archer, aka Sensei, and you can find me and everything about the dojo and all that, as well as the past, 28, now 29 episodes of the Optimized Self show. You can find all that over on OptimizedSelf.ninja. All right, let me grab some water and we will get on to the first topic. All right, so Simeon, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Simeon, Simeon, commented on a YouTube video I did, probably a year or two ago, but it is actually a rather popular one. It's called Correcting Common Posture Deviations, Hip/Pelvic Elevation. And Simeon comments or asks, hi Justin, nice video. I have a lateral tilt. So for those of you, just so you know what he's talking about a lateral, when you look front on one side of the pelvis or the hip is higher than the other. So that's what he's referring to as a lateral tilt. I guess I shouldn't say he. I don't know if Simeon is he or she, so I'll just say they. What Simeon is referring to is a lateral tilt. Continues to say, muscles are tight on the left side. My legs are of equal length, so it's not a structural problem. Have been told by an osteopath it's due to a tight psoas. Physio thinks it may be more than that. The tilt comes and goes. For the past 3 years, it's definitely the left side that is tight, but it seems that left side pulls inward, making the left hip look lower. The pain is always in the lower back too. It led to bad sciatica, which totally cleared after months of following the physio's exercise. Sciatica cleared, but still comes and goes. Sorry, I'm waffling on a bit now. don't worry, Simeon, I've had much longer questions and comments, so this is actually pretty good, and I know you're coming to an end here. I wanted to ask you about Rolfing. I'm thinking of trying Rolfing to try and finally cure this intermittent tilt problem. What are your views on Rolfing for this problem? So there's a number of questions there, and we'll try to take them one at a time. First and foremost, Simeon, if you haven't already, because I couldn't quite gather from that, if you are or are not using or have yet used the hip/pelvic elevation routine that's included on that video post. If not, I definitely recommend you do that. For those of you who are watching this and maybe are also dealing with a lateral pelvic tilt or a hip/pelvic elevation like Simeon is doing, I'll make sure to include in the show notes below under mention links. By show notes, I mean the description area on YouTube. I'll put under mention links a link to that post so you have access to that routine. So Simeon, if you're not already doing that, I definitely recommend you start doing that. The other, you mentioned, your hip flex and everything, which I definitely think do play a part. Also, I would say take in consideration the length and tension of your adductors, adductors, as well as your abductors, but especially your adductors. Those are your inner thigh muscles. Without any visuals, I can't say for sure, but just take a look, see, do a quick Google search on adductors. You may have already looked into this. I may be telling you something you already know, but just take that in consideration on how it affects the tilt, the lateral tilt of your pelvis. There is also a very useful routines, lower back pain routine and sciatic routines that you can find inside the Optimized Self First Aid Kit. And this is something that's found inside the Optimized Self Arsenal, which is found inside the Optimized Self Dojo, which previously, just before I started addressing your questions/comments, Simeon, I talked about earlier. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just click on the timestamp so you can jump right to that part, almost like a chapter on a DVD. You can jump right to there and learn about what's included inside the Optimized Self Dojo, or you can just go to OptimizedSelf.ninja and read it if you prefer to read rather than watch. So definitely check that out. Those are routines that are more geared towards lower back pain routine and sciatica. There is also, I didn't put this note down here, but I will also say, also in the routine, I just showed earlier in this video, so definitely check that out. There is a section called Correcting Common Posture Deviations, which include more video tutorials on how to deal with things like the hip elevation, hip/pelvic elevation that you saw, but also things like sciatica, scoliosis, lordosis, kyphosis, things like that. So I think that would definitely be helpful. As far as Rolfing is great. And for those of you that don't know what Rolfing is, it's a hands-on therapy, usually done in a series of, I think, 8 to 10. I think the longest I've heard is 12, but usually kind of a string of sessions that you have a Rolfer, also they've been known as structural integrist therapist, where they will take, maybe you're missing some range of motion in your hip or your shoulder, and they'll kind of manually take you through that while applying pressure, and basically with the attempt to feed slack through your connective tissues back to certain joints or whatever happens to be hurting you. So, my take on Rolfing is I think it's great. It can be very beneficial, but it is something that is done to you, not something you do for or to yourself. And it's important to remember that the latter, doing something to yourself or doing something for yourself, has a much bigger influence and impact on your pain, posture, performance, and overall well-being. Which kind of brings me to something I repeat very, very commonly on this show because I think it's so important. I mean, if I get into the bumper sticker business, I will definitely put this on here. It'll be a long bumper sticker, but here it is. The human body is a stimulus response organism. So Sorry, I just lost my track. Let me start over. The human body is a stimulus response organism that responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. So what does that mean? Well, Rolfing, like I said, is going to be beneficial, but unless it's what you do the majority of the time, no amount of Rolfing. Don't get me wrong, there's some amazing Rolfers out there, some that have worked on me, some of which I call friends and colleagues, and that I would, depending on where you are, I would refer you to. But no amount of Rolfing can compensate for a suboptimal lifestyle, meaning which if you're chronically dehydrated, or if you're chronically sleep deprived, or if you're chronically stressed, or if you're eating foods that you have intolerances or sensitivities to that are causing systemic inflammation throughout your body, guess what? No quantity nor quality of Rolfing can overcome that. So, and the same goes for exercise. And I just want to be clear, Rolfing, exercise, both are important, both can be beneficial, but they're not the most important thing. Rolfing and exercise, they're part of the recipe, but they're not the recipe itself. They're part of the equation. They are not the equation. There's I would love to give you more specific advice, but just with this to go off of, that's I'm looking really quick, seeing if I can pull out any a little bit more tidbits. But that's kind of the best I can do for now. What I would recommend you do as kind of a next step is to go to OptimizedSelf.ninja, and below you'll see at the top there's the logo and the video player. We can watch this and other episodes of the show. And then right below that is a big red orange button. It says, click here to take the Optimized Self test, and then blah, 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 some other words. Click the button, put your email in, and take the Optimized Self test. And actually later in this video, I'm gonna talk about it's this newly revised Optimized Self Test 2.0. And what that'll do, it's a simple Google form, really, should take you just a few minutes to fill out. But that'll give me more information so that I can better advise you as to what to do next. Basically, what you'll be doing is helping me help you. And there's a spot in there that you can ask me a couple questions. And I always find when people take that test, the quality, the more specific they become in their questions. So definitely check that out. And I would love to have you as a member of the Optimized Self Dojo. So go ahead and take a look-see over on OptimizedSelf.ninja, everything that's included there. I mentioned a couple things like the Optimized Self First Aid Kit, the Correcting Common Posture Deviations sections, all the modules on how to go about optimizing your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, and then exercise. And I do say in that order of priority, because the results you get out of the time and effort you put into exercise is always going to be limited by the synergistic quality or state of your other foundations of health, meaning which you can exercise the most and the best and have the best therapist, the best physio, the best PT, the best Ralpher, and all that, but none of it matters if you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, you're 1, 2s, and 3s, or heck, even less than 5s in the other foundations of health, in breathing, in hydration, and sleep. So it's important to remember that total health is accumulative. And again, it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. So take the Optimized Self test. Take a look at the dojo. I think there's a lot of things inside that would greatly benefit you. Granted, I'm probably biased because it's my group, but take a look-see and let me know if there's anything that I can do to make the dojo more accommodating to you. If you don't take a look at it and go, wow, this is exactly for me. If you have any questions, if you're wondering, how something might benefit you, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help. And then last but certainly not least, if you found this answer or any of the other answers later on in the video helpful to you, please like the video on YouTube. Please share it with someone that you think that could benefit from it, a friend, a family member, someone that you care about, maybe someone who's going through the same or similar type of thing that you're struggling with right now, an elevated pelvis, or any other type of the symptoms that you mentioned. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Optimized Self YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date on all the recent happenings and goings-ons inside the Optimized Self ecosystem. All right, because we do 2 episodes of the Optimized Self show a week, and also I put out short little 15-second or less daily videos. I call them Catalyst of the Day videos, questions, facts, thoughts, challenges of the day that will, again, help as a catalyst for positive growth in your life. Because after all, people want to know, how do you make these big changes in your life, especially health-wise? And I always say, start with something that you do every day, even no matter how small or how maybe insignificant it may seem. It's those little changes that you do consistently that lead to making monumental positive changes and shifts in your life. All right. So I think that about covers it. Simeon, thank you very much for your question and comment. And I look forward to, hopefully getting your response via the Optimized Self test, and hopefully seeing you inside the Optimized Self Dojo. All right, thanks again, and look forward to hearing from you soon. All right, let me grab some water. We'll move on to our second topic / question. I'm also gonna change up my sitting position, as I've been known to do every few minutes. Okay, so Paul recently joined the Posture Guy family email list, and for those of you that don't know, I say used to run a website. I guess technically I still do, because it's up. I just haven't added to it since late fourth quarter. Yeah, late last year. It's a website called thepostureguy.com. And basically, Optimized Self Ninja is the successor to thepostureguy.com, which was all about using postural corrective exercises to help relieve and eliminate chronic pain symptoms through the use of corrective exercises. And it was great. I did it in San Diego for about 7.5 years in a clinical setting, and then for a couple years while my wife and I were traveling. And again, it was really great. But what I found was that posture, I was able to kind of take off the single factor focus blinders and see that posture, although very, very important, is part of the equation. It is not the entire equation in and of itself. That the state of your posture, your postural alignment, is very much dictated by your things like your breathing, your hydration, your sleep, your stress, your nutrition, your movement, and then finally however you choose to supplement your life with exercise. Not to mention external factors like environment, or internal factors like your mindset. So all that comes into play, and that's why I created the OptimizedSelf.ninja. is kind of the successor to the Posture Guy. So with that said, Paul writes in, hi Justin, I'm 35 and come from London in the UK. Paul, welcome. Actually, it's been a while since I think I had an email or comment from someone in London, so this is cool. And actually, I was just listening before this to London Real. I kid you not, can't make this up. It's a great podcast. If you maybe you already listened to it, but if not, London Real. You can find that on whatever your podcast player of choice is if you haven't listened to a podcast. Anyways, just a fun little tangent there. Paul says, fortunately, to date, I have not experienced any pain through my very bad posture. I suffer from kyphosis of the upper back, hyperlordosis of the lower back, some forward head posture, elevated right hip, and drooped right shoulder. Years of carrying my heavy school backpack on one shoulder, hitting the gym with a focus on chest and biceps, thrown in with 18 years in the office, sat at my desk 9 to 5 type of job, has played havoc with my posture. My motivation for correcting my posture is purely for aesthetics and to reduce the possibility of experiencing pain later in life. I have been working hard at this for the past 12 months with a strong focus on core strength through planks and glute bridges, lots of stretching the hip flexors and quads, upper lats and chest, and lots of seated rows, wide prones and scapular presses, and scapular press-ups to strengthen the upper back. Unfortunately, I have yet to see any improvement despite working at this 4/5 times per week. I'm starting to think it may be a permanent structural issue rather than a postural issue. I've subscribed to your website to gain some further inspiration. Okay, so Paul, thank you very much for subscribing. Hopefully you'll join me and the other Young Grasshoppers and Ninjas and Ninjettes on my new home over on OptimizedSelf.ninja, both on the website, over on the YouTube channel, Optimized Self Ninja YouTube channel, and maybe even inside the dojo, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But to answer your question, rest assured, could you have some structural issues? Yes, it's a possibility. Statistically speaking, it's very unlikely. It is usually, postural issues that are due to environmental issues, by which I mean, how do you interact with, like you said, sitting for a long time, or your backpack if it's on one shoulder, how does your environment influence you, and how do you interact with your environment? All that influences your posture. So it's important to remember form follows functions. And let me expand on that a little bit. I already said this to Simeon in the last question, and I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. The human body is a stimulus response organism that responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. So as important as postural alignment is and the corrective exercises you use are, they both pale in comparison to the 6 other foundations of health that I would actually prioritize in this order that we need in order not only to survive, but also to thrive. So they are breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, and then exercise. Not to mention other factors like your environment and mindset, both of which are forever influencing, whether positively or negatively, things like your pain, posture, and performance. So, and I just want to be clear so that Paul or anyone else, thinks that I'm poo-pooing over exercise. I love exercise, love kinesiology, biomechanics, anatomy. I can geek out over posture and length tension of muscles and how a muscle contracts and where it connects to and the force that it has, and myofascial lines, all that. I love it. So I just want to be clear. Exercise is important, but it's not the most important thing. And exercise is part of the recipe. It's not the recipe itself. And something I was mentioning to Simeon in the last topic was that the results you get from exercise, from the time and effort you put into exercise, are limited or predetermined by the accumulative or the synergistic state or quality of those other foundations of health. So you might be exercising better than 99.9% of the people. You may be a genetic specimen of how you react to exercise. You might have the best trainer, the best team of trainers, but no quantity nor quality of exercise can overcome or compensate for a suboptimal lifestyle, meaning which if you're chronically dehydrated, or if your breathing mechanics have been compromised, or you're chronically sleep deprived, or you're eating foods that are causing systemic inflammation in your body, then no amount of exercise is going to overcome that. It would be like trying to accelerate in a really fast car. It could have 1,000 horsepower engine, trying to put your foot down, pedal to the metal, and you've got your parking, you've got the transmission in park, and you've got your parking brake on, and you're holding your foot down on the brake pedal. You're not going to go anywhere, or at least you're not going to go very fast, and you're doing a lot of damage to that vehicle, just like you could potentially do damage to your car. So I just want to make that apparent. Exercise is important, but it's only part of the equation. It's not the entire equation. Again, try to audit what you do, your day-to-day life. what you do the majority of the time and make changes there. You mentioned, wearing your backpack or bag on one shoulder more than the other. Well, that's easy. Switch to the other shoulder, right? And I know that's, it may be kind of a habit deal, and it's easier said than done. It's simple, but maybe it's not easy, because you have to, each time you pick it up, go, oh, not this shoulder, put it on the other shoulder. But as you start to do that, that's accumulatively going to lead to even out your shoulders. Or you can even just have a backpack. I don't know if you have a messenger bag or a backpack that you wear on one shoulder, but put the strap on both shoulders, and that will start to even it out. And because you do that more often, more frequently, it sounds like a part of your day than exercise, that's going to have a greater impact. Yeah, I can give you exercises to even out shoulders that may take 20 minutes, and you can spend doing that and they'll even them out. But then you go, wear your backpack on one shoulder and they're going to be uneven again. Posture wise, we're all works in progress, and there is no such thing as permanent. Your posture is always fluctuating. It's getting better, it's getting worse. You clean it up, it gets dirty. Just like brushing your teeth. Your teeth are never perfectly clean, except maybe right after the dentist, but you got to eat, right? And then you brush them. Well, I always use this example. If you were here in person with me, and I showed you some posture exercises right here, and we took pictures before we did the exercise, and went, oh, look, here's your posture, and it's jacked up in these ways, and we spent an hour doing posture exercises, and we took pictures after and look, oh, wow, look, your posture's much better. Great. But then you and I hopped into a car and drove from LA to Vegas, which depending on traffic was like 4, 5, even 6 hours. And we got out of the car and you took pictures of us after, both you and I, our postures would be worse, because our body, remember, it's a stimulus response organism that's responding to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. It positively responded to the posture exercise we did before we got in the car and left, but it also responded to the 4 or 5 or 6 hours that we were in a car traveling from LA to Vegas. And so it also adapts to that stimulus you're feeding it. And then if we dropped our bags off at the hotel room and did say 15, 20 minutes of exercise and took another set of pictures, you would see the posture got better. So just in the span of 7, 8 hours, you would see your posture go from, whoa, terrible, to, oh, spend an hour after posture exercise, much better, get into a car, drive to Vegas, not so good, 15, 20 minutes cleaning up, a little bit better. Hopefully that makes sense. We're all works in progress, and whatever your posture is today, whatever you say you don't have any symptoms, but all that is part of a process. It's not an event. You didn't have, I think you already know this, you don't have bad posture because any one thing. It's the accumulation of a lot of little things. It's the, how you use the trackpad or the mouse regularly. It's, how you use your, put your bag on one shoulder. It's how you, sit or work at a desk. It's the things, it's how you breathe, average human taking 22 to 30,000 breaths per day. It's what you drink, is your tissue nicely hydrated, like a nice supple filet mignon, or is it chronically dehydrated like beef jerky? That could have definitely a huge impact. It's, how much you sleep and the quality of your sleep. It's the foods you eat. Are you eating something that is harming you, that is toxic to you? And I don't mean processed foods, but even foods that, unbeknownst to you, you might have sensitivities to, you might have intolerances to, or are you eating foods that are replenishing you, that are helping you? So these are all things, like I said, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that we a lot of times we get zoomed in on one thing, right? Just posture, just exercise. We put single factor focus blinders on, and all we see is that. And I think we need to step back. We need to zoom out and remember that the human body works as a whole unit, and so that it's very important that we treat it as such. All right. Let's see. The other thing is, you mentioned, we're doing some gym work, I think, and it's mostly exercises you mentioned sound like it's to better your posture. I don't know if you're doing any type of also just general fitness or bodybuilding type of strengthening. I just wanted to share something with you and everybody else watching that I've learned very much the hard way, but has a good a happy ending is the lesson I learned: always straighten before strengthening. Meaning that if you take a body that's out of alignment, with kyphosis and hyperlordosis and forward head and rounded shoulders or a droop shoulder and stuff like that, and you take it in the gym and you try to do strength training exercise, whether it's with weight, body weight, high intensity, low intensity, blah, 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 all you're going to be doing is strengthening muscles that are holding joints and bones out of position. It's going to cause worse posture and make you more prone to injury. So make sure that you align your body and then go and try to strengthen it. It would be like, for example, if you knew your tires on your sports car were out of alignment, you wouldn't go to the track and try to race around the track as fast as possible, because that's just asking for trouble, right? You would first get the tires aligned so that the car performs the best at the racetrack. All right, so hopefully that makes some sense. And what else? I would love to give you more specific, advice and recommendations to your unique situation, but in order to do that, I need a little bit more information. So as far as like what's the next step to take, I would definitely recommend going to Optimized Self Ninja. Click on the big red, orange, yellow button right below the one and only video player at the top of the page. It'll say click here to take the Optimized Self test and blah, 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 some other words. Go and click that, put your email address in there, and you'll be sent a link to the Optimized Self test, which actually, if you hang around in just a few minutes, I'm actually going to show you the new Optimized Self test. It's a modified one. I just finished making it yesterday, which is kind of version 2.0. I think it's a step up from version 1.0, and hopefully those that took Optimized Self Test 1.0 will tell me if it is better or not, but I think it's better. So if you take that, what that'll help with is you'll be supplying me with some information specifically about your lifestyle, as well as you'll get another opportunity to ask me some questions. And I think after going through those questions, it'll help you audit and self-review how you're doing in each of those foundations of your health, of your life, breathing, hydration, sleep, et cetera, et cetera. I went over them already before. And I think when you do that, I always see when people take, excuse me, that was my waterlogged app telling me to drink water. I will in a second. Whenever people take the Optimized Self test and they go through the questions, it causes them to pause and reflect and then think, could that thing be affecting this other thing? Which I can always tell in the first question they ask me, either over email or on YouTube or something, they don't always get. So I instantly see when they take the test, the quality of their questions are better. They're more specific because they're now taking in consideration the other things from the questions that I already that I posed to them. So like I said, if you stick around, I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, as well as everyone else watching, what that new version of the test looks like. All right. And then also, I would definitely recommend you check out the Optimized Self Dojo, and you can find out all about that on OptimizedSelf.ninja. Just scroll below the button where you would take the Optimized Self test, and it'll show you everything that's included in there. Basically, without going too lengthy in it, it's part accountability, part support group. We do weekly live trainings in there every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for about an hour to an hour and a half, during which you can come on video live with me or email, text, message me, whatever questions you want me to answer. And then also included with the membership is access to something called the Optimized Self Arsenal, which is a collection of various guides and resources and video tutorials on how to go about optimizing each and every part of your life, especially those 7 foundations of health, as well as tools you can use that will help simplify and just make the whole process easier. It'll help streamline the process. And yeah, it's a great group. Granted, I'm biased. I like everybody, that's in there, and check it out. And I think it'd be a good fit for you, but yeah, check it out for yourself and let me know if you have any questions about it. All right. Oh, and also if you found this answer or any of the other answers on this episode helpful, I would really appreciate it if you would like the video on YouTube, share it with someone that you think it could also benefit. I know they would appreciate you thinking of them. I would appreciate you helping, share the love and spreading the word, all that good jazz. And then also subscribe to the Optimized Self Ninja YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date with all the recent happenings and going-ons inside the Optimized Self ecosystem. All right. And oh, there was one last thing. I missed a note here. If you do in fact join the Optimized Self Dojo, definitely check out these 3 resources. One is correcting common posture deviation sections. This goes over, it gives you exercise routines along with video tutorials on how to correct some of the most common postural dysfunctions and or compensations. So that'd be very useful for what you wrote in about. And then 2 others, because like we talked about, it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. And you mentioned sitting, how you sit and working at a computer. So there's 2 great video tutorials in there. One is how should you be sitting, and the other is pain-free at your PC. So if you join the dojo, definitely check that out. It's all linked to in the Optimized Self arsenal. And if you have any questions about where to find that, once you get in the dojo, just message me and I will send you links right to them so they're easy to find. All right. Oh, and Carmen, the one and only canine member of the dojo, is here to say hi and welcome you. Carmen, you want to say hi? All right, she's very excited. Anyways, I think that about covers it. Paul, thank you very much for writing in and your question. And yeah, check out London Real. It's a great podcast, and look forward to visiting there one day. I'd be interested to know when the best time to come is. All right, so let's move on to the final topic. Let me just grab some water here. Okay, so I mentioned both, I believe, at the intro and to Simeon and to Paul that I recently, like just yesterday, finished with the Optimized Self Test 2.0. And I wanted to show you guys that and just kind of walk you through the changes I've made and why I've made them. For those of you who took the Optimized Self Test, I guess version 1.0, I didn't really call it version 1.0, it was just the Optimized Self Test. You know what it's about. For those of you that haven't, it was very much, welcome, name, email, and then it would ask you to self-evaluate how you're doing in each of the foundations of health. Basically, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how are you doing in breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, yada, yada, all of them. And then how are you determining, how do you know what you know? What is the measuring stick you're using to measure how you're doing each of those areas? And then it would give some places where you can ask questions for me that I would answer on an upcoming episode of the Optimized Self Show, like I regularly do, like I'm doing now. And that was fine. But I'm a big believer in that asking better, higher quality questions yields better, higher quality answers. And the quality of one's life, of one's health, of one's fitness, of one's overall well-being is often reflected by the quality of the questions one asks of others or of themselves. And so I went back in, and after getting, can't remember, I can't count, well, I can, but I can't remember, let's put it that way, how many entries I got, and I started to realize the limitation was me. I needed to do a better job of asking better quality questions so I can get better quality answers from people taking the test, so I can give them better quality advice on the show that is more specific to their unique situation, whatever they're currently struggling with, looking to overcome. So that's why I made these changes. So let me go over to, all right, I got it up here on the screen, and we will do a screen share. All right. And here you go. So this is the Optimized Self Test. It's not pretty, but it is functional. And basically it tells you, some little intro instructions. I'll let you read that when you take it yourself. But you can put, you put your name, your email, and then we start off with some questions. And some of these questions used to be at the end, but they actually work better. So when I collect this information, I could lead with the questions rather than the scores on the self-evaluation. So when I actually go to answer people's responses that they put in here, when I go to answer on the show, it just kind of flows better this way. So these questions were actually already on version 1.0. I just moved them from kind of the end to the beginning. So it says, all right, here we go. And it says, when it comes to your health, fitness, and or wellness, what is the biggest problem or issue that you struggle with or have in the past? And you can simply click here and leave your answer, like it says in parentheses, in 5 sentences or less, please. A couple times I have gotten novel answers. And although I appreciate detail, do keep in mind that this is a live show. And so, brevity is the soul of wit here. And it helps keep a live show flowing smoothly instead of me having to read a 28-page report, which I wouldn't mind doing if it was just me. But if it's on camera, I've got to keep it going. The second question, if you could ask me one question about your health, fitness, and or wellness that you would like for me to answer in an upcoming episode of the Optimized Self Show, what would it be? Boom, there's your spot where you can ask me a question to answer on the show. And here's another spot for one more. Okay, excuse me, let me get rid of this little jumping guy. Wants me to upgrade something, not right now. And then I get a little bit more information. This is kind of on version 1.0, what I referred to, where I would have people gauge themselves on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best in each of their foundations of health. But what I realized was that, a lot of times people were going, when I asked, how were you determining how you think you are in breathing or hydration? It was very much how I feel or kind of this, kind of that. And the issue, I think how you feel is good. It's important. But unfortunately, a lot of the times how we feel are lagging indicators of our health. And there's other things that we should be paying more attention to that can give us much better, more precise information ahead of time rather than waiting till we're in trouble. So I really worked on asking more specific questions, and these will give me the answers I need so that I can advise people on how to mod it, how to edify certain parts of their lifestyle so that they could, rediscover their health, upgrade their fitness, or optimize their wellness, whatever it is they're looking to do, whatever they're looking to achieve, that they can do that as simply, as quickly, as efficiently as possible. So the first question is, how often do you participate or practice? Excuse me, I'm reading so fast. I'm making up new words here. How often do you practice any forms of meditation and or conscious, ideally diaphragmatic breathing? And there's a couple options here. How much do you weigh? That is actually important for the second question. Don't worry, I'm not, I'm not asking people to send in pictures. And this isn't for body mass index, which quite frankly, I find rather useless. Body composition is more important than body mass index. But how much do you weigh? The reason I ask that is for the next question, how many ounces of water do you drink per day? Ideally, most people know who've seen the show or who are in the dojo, have worked with me. I usually recommend as a bare minimum, half your body weight in ounces of water. And then add to that, if you consume any non-pure water beverages, any wine or any coffee, because both of which can dehydrate you. So you want to drink a 2-to-1 ratio of water to those beverages. Also, if you have a more manual, physical, like labor type of job, you want to drink more because you're perspiring more. Or if you work out or you're an athlete or you talk a lot, like I am right now, you basically have moisture coming out of your mouth, so you need to drink more. So that's what that how much do you weigh question is for. It's about how much water do you need to drink. How much and what kind of salt do you consume daily? And again, if you don't know for any of these, I said you can just simply write, I don't know. Salt, for those people that don't know, you need a certain amount in your body in ratio to the water you consume so that you just don't keep peeing it out. The salt will actually help, almost like a taxi driver, to get you from the airport to wherever you need to be, your hotel or wherever. It'll help get the water to your extremities and to the right cells so that your body can efficiently use the water rather than just kind of going through you, okay? So that's important. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate the quality of your sleep? And that goes anywhere from not good to like a baby. How many hours on average do you sleep per night? There's a couple choices there. What position do you sleep in? Back, side, stomach, or other? Maybe it's a combo. Maybe you sleep hanging upside down. Maybe you're Dracula. I don't know. Do you eat in the following foods on a daily, weekly basis? This is important because these are foods. These are the 7 common, again, you guess you can say, culprits of foods that most people have intolerances / sensitivities to, and these checkbox ones, you can actually click multiples. So you can click some, or just one, or none if you don't eat any of them. So yeah, and I don't know why that other one is there. I can take that off. So just seeing if somebody eats those foods. If they are, statistically speaking, usually these foods someone is going to have some type of systemic inflammatory response to, and that's what could be holding them back. That's what could be causing their pains or their brain fog, or contributing to their diabetes or cancer, or all types of various other symptoms that we deal with here on OptimizedSelf.ninja. Let's see, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate your stress level? Everywhere from calm to stressed. It's really important. I think I forget the percentage, but it's very, very high of causes of why people set up doctor visits. So stress is a huge component in your overall health and well-being. How many minutes do you spend standing, walking per day? There's a few options, or you can put other, fill in your own. How many hours do you spend sitting or stagnant per day? That's huge. A lot of people have heard the saying going around, sitting is the new smoking. It's true. I'm sitting right now on the floor, but you've seen me kind of fidget, move around every few minutes. That is, I've built that habit up. Everybody asks me, what's the best position to sit in? And I said, your next position is always your best position. So there is no one ideal or perfect sitting position. You should be changing it up roughly every 20 minutes or less. How many times per week do you work out? Anywhere from 0 to 7. How long do you work out for? Anywhere from 15 to 90 minutes, and then options for more or less. How conducive is your environment, your work, your home, your peer group, etc., to you achieving your goals? This is huge. It's very hard to, if you say, hey, I want to stop eating this food that I know is unhealthy for me, and it's all around you. It's hard to overcome that, but it's a lot easier if that food isn't around you. Or it's very hard to change your mindset and be positive about something when you're always hanging around, negative people. Everybody says you are what you eat. I like to take it one step further. You are what you eat, but you also are, the average sum of who you hang around with, what you read, what you listen to, what you watch, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I mean by your environment. What is your general mindset? Again, you can choose several, from hopeful, informed, optimistic, enthusiastic, skeptical, pessimistic, overwhelmed, hesitant, or other. And then there's a spot here, is there anything else you feel, think, believe is contributing to holding you back from being your optimized self? And then some final step, who holds you accountable and supports you in your health, fitness, and wellness endeavors? Again, this is really, really important. This is why a lot of people, no matter what the system, the method, or techniques they use, why a lot of people put these programs down is because, one, they have trouble holding themselves accountable. But even if they do, it's a lot better if they, if someone is there, or a group of people are there to hold them accountable. And also when they fall down, when they make mistakes, to help them back up and to support them and kind of, get back on their feet, or get back on the horse, whatever phrase you want to use for that. So that's why I thought that was an important question. Followed by, do you know about the Optimized Self Dojo? Obviously, shameless plug here, but that's one of the most important things, if not the most important components of the dojo, is the built-in accountability and support, like a mastermind that it provides for people looking to optimize themselves, their health, their fitness, and wellness. Because basically what we're doing is crowdsourcing the collective knowledge, and more importantly, experience of all the members, as I refer to them as ninjas and ninjettes, so that you can take that and use that to optimize yourself. Let's see, what would you love to see in your inbox from OptimizedSelf.ninja? I always love to know, how I can be of more service and provide more value to you, anyone else watching, listening, reading to any of the content I put out. So that's where to let me know whether it's something good or bad. If it's something bad, the only thing I ask for is to be respectful. I love constructive criticism. Obviously, if it's something mean and spirited, if I read into that in the first sentence or two, honestly, and this is something I would recommend anyone to do, especially people who have online businesses. At that point, I just stop reading and I delete it because it's not worth it. The constructive criticism is always welcome. I definitely am one of those people that believe that critics are our friends. They help us grow. They point out our weaknesses, how and as well as how we can all be better. So that's where that's for. And last but certainly not least, have you shared OptimizedSelf.ninja with a friend, family member, or someone you care about? Yes or no? And I think that's huge because, as we'll get in here as we close out the show, I think that's something that is missing in today's society. Everybody is so consumed with caring for themselves, moving from healthcare to self-care, that we forget that self-care alone is not enough. We have to be looking out for one another. And when you take the best of what healthcare has to offer and you take the best of what self-care has to offer and you combine them and you start looking out for your friends, your family, your neighbors, that's when you get welfare. And I don't mean food stamps or anything like that. I'm talking about welfare as in community care, looking out for your fellow, human. And that's why I always sign off on my emails. Take care and be a good human. Be the best version of yourself possible, but also look to take care of the person to your left and to your right. So I think that about covers it. Let me stop the screencast. Hey, and I'm back. So yeah, that's the new Optimized Self-Test version 2.0. I definitely think it's going to, when you take the test, and you can always go to OptimizedSelf.ninja, and right below the video player, you can take it there. For those of you, some people have reported if they try to take the test again, it doesn't allow them to. For those of you who are on the email list, I'm going to send out a special link. Basically, it's just OptimizedSelf.ninja/test. So if you have that problem, I'll put it in the show notes below, and also in the email I send out to all the ninjas and ninjettes, those that are on the email list. Okay. But that's the Optimized Self version 2.0. So I cannot wait to start getting responses for that and answering the questions that are left inside. Let me grab some water and we will start closing up today's episode. But before we do, one more thing. Steve Jobs. I got two questions of the day for you. Okay, question of the day number one is, what do you think is the most pressing health issue in the world today? Okay, mine, I couldn't decide on just one. I think there's a combination of them. I think misinformation, marketing, social memes, apathy, being overwhelmed by an immense amount of health, fitness, and wellness information, people, the lack of taking responsibility for their own health, wanting to pass on the bill to some expert, some therapist, some guru, the mindset people have towards health, as perfect example, thinking that, to eat nutritious food, you have to give up tasty things, or that, people that are very specific about their health and their well-being and stuff, that's a boring or unfulfilling life. And some of those mindsets, those preconceived notions and assumptions people have, I think, about what it means to live a healthy, happy, and fulfilled life is holding a lot of people back from doing so. And unfortunately, they're all just, lies and propaganda. It's all not true. And last but certainly not least, I think, is people not having a compelling enough why. And by why, I mean, why is it that what is the thing that is giving you reason to consistently make healthy choices in your life. You know, I share with people my reason, which is I wanted to be the best version of myself possible for my friends, my family, my loved ones, you know, for you and for everyone else that I try to be of service to. I want to be the best brother. I want to be the best son. I want to be the best, you know, sensei to the Optimized Self Dojo, and I can't do that if I first don't choose myself first, if I don't take care of myself. And so feel free to steal that. But, you know, to parents, you know, who are looking, it's like, hey, no, your reason doesn't have to be to have a six-pack, you know, to be some fitness model like you see on the magazines. It could just because, you know, hey, you want to be a good mother or a good father. You want to be able to play with your kids rather than have back pain or hip pain or something debilitate you, or something that you could have avoided, like, you know, type 2 diabetes kill you and take you from your children's way before you had to go. And especially that's hurtful when we know nowadays that that's something, you know, type 2 diabetes and many cancers and all this stuff that can be avoided if you simply consistently make healthier choices. So that's what I mean, is you want to have a strong enough why, something that's compelling enough so that it drives you to consistently make healthy choices. That's mine. I'm interested to know what yours is. Feel free, if anything in what I said resonates with you, by all means. It's not like copyrighted or patented. You can take it, you can use it, it's yours. And let's see, second question of the day is, I want to know, because I feel like I'm missing something here, and you can tell me, how good of a job am I doing at conveying the value of the Optimized Self Dojo? Because if you actually total everything up, and actually if you go to OptimizedSelf.ninja and you put all the parts together, what was included, and little secret or side story, originally that's the way I was going to go. I was going to sell everything separately. And then I thought, well, if someone needs this, they're going to want this thing, and then they're going to need this other thing. And I didn't want to do the upsell, side sell thing, because I know sometimes people, I know myself, I've been annoyed by that. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do a membership and just give access to everything. But if you add everything up, just in the first year of being a member, there's $3,650 worth of value. And you can get in right now for what we saw today, what, $22 one-time payment. And that price is going up, guaranteed, and it will eventually turn into an annual membership that you can pay either annually, quarterly, or monthly, but it's going to be recurring. Right now it's a one-time payment. And so I just want to make sure that was clear. If there's something maybe that I could do better to convey to people the value of this thing, of the built-in accountability and support, not only by myself, but by the other ninjas and ninjettes, the dojo members. The value of the live trainings that we do every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, I do offer one-on-one sessions. They're $300 per session, and the session's about 60 to 90 minutes. $300. You can get ongoing ones. Yeah, you're sharing, you know, access to me with a group, but for what, a one-time payment of $22? I mean, that's a steal. And I hope, you know, if you're watching, you understand. If it sounds like I'm coming at this from a maybe somewhat narcissistic standpoint, it's not. I used to charge less than $300 per month, but I know that I can definitely deliver 10 times the value. So $300, you know, you're going to get bare minimum $3,000 worth of value out of that one session. And the reason I put the dojo together, why I'm so excited and so kind of high up on the dojo, is because I understand that everybody can't afford $300 per session, or some of the retainers that I offer for $750 a month, or I forget, even was it 3,000 or something, you know, for a year to keep me on as a retainer. I understand that's not in everybody's budget. The only problem is, if I work with everybody one-on-one, I only have so many hours in a day, and I wanted to make something that's more scalable, and the dojo is more scalable. I can put things in the arsenal. We can have other members. I can answer questions there. We have the weekly live trainings where it's one-on-many instead of, you know, one-on-one. And that's how I'm able to offer access to the dojo and everything that's included inside for such a low cost. And that's why I'm really excited. There's even people who've come to me and said, hey, you know, I want to do a one-on-one session with you. And as much as I would love the business, and obviously from a business standpoint, it makes much more sense to go with, you know, $300 for 60 to 90 minutes of my time. I'll tell people, sign up for the dojo at least at first, and then if you feel you need the one-on-one attention, we can always do that. But you're going to get way more bang for your buck, so to speak, in the dojo, because you're going to have ongoing support rather than just a one-time kind of flash in the pan thing. So yeah, that's why I think the dojo, to me, it's the most exciting thing I've ever done. I'm definitely learning as I go in the business model and how to do it. But yeah, let me know if there's anything that is unclear about the dojo, what's included inside, the value of everything that's included inside, you know, anything, yeah, that you're unsure about, or that's maybe causing you to hesitate on joining, assuming you're not someone who's already joined. If you have, thank you very much. You know, there's a lot of good stuff inside and we have fun. So yeah, let me know, you know, as well as if there's anything I can add, edit, or delete that would make the dojo, or heck, even this show, of more value to you, that would better serve you, because that's really the only reason I get up in the morning and do any of this, is because I want this to be of value and serve as many people as possible. So yeah, that's my second question of the day. And with that, I will say, let's go ahead. I'm gonna sign off here. Let me grab some water. Carmen's already beat me to it. She's sleeping over there. So in closing, if you haven't already, please go to OptimizedSelf.ninja and take the Optimized Self test, now version 2.0. If you already have taken the test, go ahead and just go to OptimizedSelf.ninja, click the button again. If you get anything that says, you know, hey, you've already taken the test and you can't do it again, just go to OptimizedSelf.ninja, and then after put /test, T-E-S-T, all lowercase. I'll put in the email, I'll put in the show notes, so in case you don't remember, but it's just OptimizedSelf.ninja /test. Go ahead and do that, and I would love to see the questions that people send in, as well as the other information, and answer those questions in upcoming episodes of the Optimized Self Show. If you found this episode, any of the answers I provide inside helpful, please like the video on YouTube. Please share it with someone that you think it could benefit. I know they would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. You would be both of our heroes. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Optimized Self Ninja YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date with all the recent happenings and going-ons over inside the Optimized Self ecosystem. And if you're thinking about joining the Optimized Self Dojo, you know, I welcome you. Come inside and you know, take a look around. There's a 200% money back guarantee. So if you do the things that are laid out how I suggest you do them, you don't get the results you want, 200% money back guarantee. I will warn you though, and actually, if you scroll to the bottom of OptimizedSelf.ninja, it says, you know, you do actually have to do the work. Just because you join doesn't mean you'll get the results. You actually have to take action. You have to execute. You have to apply what you learn in the dojo to your life. Otherwise, you won't get the benefit. You know, a lot of times, like in hydration, people say, oh yeah, I have my water bottle with me all the time. And I go, that's great. Do you know it doesn't do your body any good if it stays in the bottle? You have to actually, you know, drink it. You have to consume it. You have to do the thing, you know that you should be doing, because let's be honest, knowing and not doing is practically the same as not knowing. A lot of people have good ideas. A lot of people know what they should be doing, but too few people actually apply it, that actually execute on it. And those are Optimized Self people. Those are ninjas and ninjettes, and those are people that I'm very proud to call not only members of the Optimized Self Dojo, but friends and extended family. So, and last but certainly not least, if you like the show, you want to send in a question, you know, some people say, thank you so much for taking the time and answering, you know, my questions. but for whatever reason you think the Optimized Self Dojo isn't for you, but are still looking for a way to help support the show, you can go to OptimizedSelf.ninja/support. Again, I'll put in the show notes, and you can always donate as little or as much as you want. Could be a one-time payment, could be a recurring payment. Whatever though you decide to contribute. I know I speak for myself and everyone else watching the show that benefits from it when we all say thank you for your contribution, thank you for your support. And with that, I will bid you all adieu. I look forward to seeing you inside the next video. Until then, take care and be a good human.